centre of Outback, Australia for a long weekend, which we were extremely excited about. We started out exploring by following this red dirt path to a bit of a lookout where you could see the famous Uluru rock from, and just look at the colour of this soil. First sighting of the big rock. Well, we did see it from the airport, but this is a clear view. The hotel complex is a little man-made village just for Uluru, and we browsed a few of the shops selling Indigenous works and art. I really hoped I'd see one of these, but spoiler, I did not. Dinner were some kangaroo kebabs, a delicious wine, and Mum had a burger. We were supposed to go to the Field of Lights exhibition tonight, however it stormed, which was perfect for a cozy night in. The next morning we set our alarms for the ungodly hour of 4:30 a.m. so we could see the rock at sunrise. We waited here for a bit for the colours to develop over the horizon, and it was such a nice temperature at this time before the day's heat kicked in. Sexy rock.
The green versus the red is such a contrast.
It was then time for us to commence the 10-kilometre base walk around Uluru, which is not smooth as it looks from afar, but full of contours, caves, boulders. Some of the caves even had ancient Aboriginal paintings in them. These black marks are where water falls in times of rain, and a black algae develops there as there's moisture on the rock. As the sun came out further, it got hotter, but the colours also got more stunning and contrasting. The green of the trees, the red of the rock, the blue of the sky was a stunning and sweaty sight. It took us around 3 hours to circle the rock in the slightly off-peak hot season of October. This was the part of the rock that you could climb until as recently as 2019. Hey bud. No, lizard, the door's just over there. In the late afternoon, we headed out to explore Katu Juta, or the Olgas, another range of boulders and tall rocks in the middle of the outback. This is what they look like. Some of them are taller than Uluru. We did an hour-long hike here into a canyon formed by two of the large rocks, which was filled with scrub and a waterhole that fills more when it rains. So peaceful. As it was spring, it's wildflower season, and you will see lots of different varieties sprinkled throughout this video. We watched the sunset over Katajuta and then headed back to the resort for a lemon lime bitters, pizza and some live music. The next day I indulged in a lion after our 4 a.m. wake up the day before. Look at these tiny little birds. So many. We got some delicious brekkie and then attended a didgeridoo workshop. Palia means hi, bye, welcome and thanks in the local Indigenous language. We had a look at the Gallery of Central Australia, which was filled with Indigenous art. We also undertook a bush tucker workshop before heading for some well-deserved pool time. We headed back to the Rock, which is just about a 10-minute drive away from the resort, for sunset, along with crowds of buses and people. It's really peaceful out here in the middle of the desert, just the sound of silence and insects. Shall we sit in the shade, Mum? Oh wait, it's 3:30 a.m.
So we're doing it up this time.
Yep, we were up at 3:30 a.m. for a day trip to Kings Canyon, a 3-hour drive away.
So these are just wild horses. We call them brumbies out here.
We enjoyed a bushman's breakfast at a cattle station before it was time to do the Kings Canyon Rim Walk, a 3-hour hike starting with this staircase up one side of the rim. This was the view from the top, and these flowers have a name that means pretty but useless in the local Indigenous language. These marks on the rock show that it once lay under the sea.
These trees or bushes, these are called bush tomato.
The walk essentially took you along one side of the canyon, through a hidden garden in the middle, and then down the other side. This was called the Garden of Eden, a hidden oasis in the middle of the canyon.
How are you today?
And this is Kings Canyon, another feature in the middle of the Outback, with a smooth surface on this side where some of the rock fell away a couple of years ago. I then rocked this stylish combo of bikini and blunnies for a post-hike refresh in this pool, serenaded by some galahs. On the way back, we stopped to see Uluru, named because people often mistake it for Uluru. Its real name is Mount Connor, and also this gigantic salt lake, which was pretty cool. We had dinner at the best named restaurant and sat outside in the courtyard soaking up the peaceful evening. We watched our final sunset over Uluru, this time from the lookout at the resort, and then headed to the Field of Lights tonight, rescheduled from the first night. But this was so underwhelming. It's just a big field of lights. I thought it would be a bit more. Our final cafe breakfast before we headed to the camel farm, again part of the Ayers Rock complex. They do races here, and you can also take the camels for rides through the desert.
Enjoying the food.
There was also a retro Western style bar here that kept us quite entertained. And that was the end of my little trip with Mum. It was so special sharing this with her, and such a great little break. The desert is so peaceful, the colours so amazing. This was my first time in the Northern Territory, and I hope to be back. Thanks for watching. Lots of love.